He's been in power longer than some democracies survive. Benjamin Netanyahu, not just a politician, a brand, a strategy, a story told so many times it became the truth. They call him Bibi, but nicknames don't soften what a man becomes when he holds power this long. This isn't about politics, not really. It's about what happens when ambition has no expiration date. The human lens. There's a photograph. Young Netanyahu, American college campus, 1970s. Sharp jaw, confident smile, perfect English. He didn't look like a future prime minister. He looked like someone who could sell you one. And maybe that's the point, because Benjamin Netanyahu understood something early, that leadership in the modern world isn't about governing, it's about narrative. The origin. He was born into legacy. His father, a historian, a scholar of the Jewish people. His brother, Yonatan, killed leading the Entebbe raid, a national hero. And Benjamin carried that weight. Not just grief, expectation. He wasn't just living his life, he was continuing theirs. That kind of pressure, it shapes you or breaks you. He chose the first. The American years. He studied at MIT, worked in Boston, spoke like an American, smooth, articulate, media-ready. And when he returned to Israel, he brought something back with him. Not just a degree, a toolkit. He understood television, sound bites, image management. While other Israeli politicians spoke to their base, Netanyahu spoke to the camera, and the camera loved him back. The rise. His first term as prime minister, 1996. He was young, 46. He promised security, promised strength, and Israel, exhausted by violence, believed him. But here's the thing about promises. They cost nothing to make. It's the keeping that gets expensive. The billionaire myth. They call this the billionaire life of Netanyahu, but he's not a billionaire. His official salary, modest by Western standards, yet the lifestyle tells another story. Private residences, state security, chartered flights, expensive cigars, champagne on ice, paid for by friends, donors, the state. It's not his money, but it's his life, and there's a word for that: access. The cost of loyalty. Sarah Netanyahu, his wife. The press calls her difficult, demanding, extravagant. Maybe she is, or maybe she's just doing what political spouses do, protecting the image, managing the brand. Because in that world, perception isn't everything, it's the only thing. She was convicted, misuse of state funds, catering expenses, household staff, small things, but symbols are never small. The legal shadow. 3 indictments: fraud, breach of trust, bribery. The trial, still ongoing. He calls it a witch hunt, a coup, political persecution, and his supporters believe him, because that's what loyalty is, not agreement, faith. But here's the uncomfortable truth. The charges aren't abstract. Gifts from billionaires, positive press coverage in exchange for favors, submarines, telecom deals, the kind of corruption that doesn't look like corruption until you step back. The survivor. He's survived what would end most careers: scandals, protests, elections he barely won, and every time he comes back, not because he's innocent, because he's irreplaceable. That's the story he tells, that without him, Israel falls, that he alone understands the threats, and in a region where fear is currency, that story sells. Contrast and realism. But let's be honest, he's also brilliant, a strategist, a speaker, a survivor in the truest sense. He helped normalize relations with Arab nations, the Abraham Accords, historic, unprecedented. He built alliances others said were impossible. So it's not all smoke, there's fire too.
real accomplishments, real security wins. But the question isn't whether he's capable, it's what he's willing to sacrifice to stay in power. The protests. Hundreds of thousands in the streets, not against war, against him. Judicial reforms that looked like power grabs, democracy rearranged to protect one man. And still, he pushed forward. Because when you've been in power this long, you stop seeing it as a position, you see it as your right. The residences. He lives in the Prime Minister's residence, but there are others. Casareya, a coastal villa, private beach, security perimeter, funded by the state, maintained by the state. He doesn't own it, but he lives like he does. And that gap between ownership and access, that's where billionaire life happens. Not in the bank account, in the insulation. The inner circle. Miriam Adelson, Sheldon's widow, billions. She supports him, funds campaigns, shapes media, and he listens, because power is only strong as the people who protect it, and billionaires protect their investments, not out of love, out of interest. The son. Yair Netanyahu, his son, lives abroad, posts online, controversial, protected. He doesn't serve in the military, doesn't live under the same pressure, because legacy works differently for the children of power. They inherit the privilege, but not the weight. The propaganda machine. Netanyahu doesn't just lead, he curates. His media team among the best in the world. Every speech tested, every image controlled. He doesn't do interviews unless he controls the questions, and when the press pushes back, he calls them enemies, not of him, of the people. That's the playbook, and it works. The relationship with power. Here's what most people miss. Netanyahu doesn't love Israel. He loves leading it. There's a difference. One is sacrifice, the other is addiction. And after 15 years in and out of office, he's not governing, he's performing. The cost to the country. Israel is divided, not just politically, morally. Half the country sees him as a savior, half as a threat. And that division isn't an accident, it's a strategy. Because united people ask harder questions, divided people just pick sides. The wealth that isn't his. He'll never be on Forbes, but he'll never want for anything. That's the real billionaire life. Not ownership, access without accountability, luxury without cost, power without limits, until the courts say otherwise. The trial. It continues, slowly, strategically delayed, because as long as he's prime minister, he's protected, and as long as he's protected, he'll stay prime minister. It's circular and brilliant and corrosive. Closing reflection. Benjamin Netanyahu is not a billionaire, but he's built something more valuable, a life where other people's money becomes his comfort, where other people's loyalty becomes his shield, where other people's fear becomes his fuel. He doesn't own the residences, but he lives in them. He doesn't own the country, but he's shaped it. And maybe that's the lesson, that wealth isn't always in the bank. Sometimes it's in the access, the insulation, the ability to rewrite the rules so they never apply to you. He's not the richest man in Israel, but he might be the most expensive. Outro. They wanted a leader strong enough to protect them. He gave them that. But strength without accountability isn't leadership, it's control. Before you go, hit that subscribe button. We don't just cover power, we expose it. The systems, the strategies, the stories leaders tell to make you stop asking questions. So tap like, tap subscribe, and join thousands who've learned that smart citizenship starts with smarter questions.